Okay, welcome to our video today. My name is Diana Lee Pacheco, and this video is sponsored by my website, www.kazoodlesdesignstudio.com. Today we're going to be covering how to create an applique in Creative Drawing 6. So obviously I need to go to my programs, Creative Drawing 6, and get it opened up. Creative Drawings does have a nifty little applique fill option, but it doesn't work well for me because when you use that option it just inserts jump stitches to do color changes, and then you have to go into Wings to edit it to make it an actual stop on the machine. So this way works much easier for me, so I'd like to share that with you today. I'm going to go to Create New and then Next. I always go to Embroidery Normal and then Standard Normal, and my preference is a white background. And then I click Next. I've already got my picture selected here. If I didn't, I would just click the dots and browse the file so I could pick my picture, and then I would click Next. Now, here's where it gets important. You do not want to use Trace Convert to Outlines because it'll have entirely too many nodes. I always open as a backdrop, I finish, and that way I can manually place my nodes. Makes everything better. If you can't see your picture on your screen, you need to go up here to View and Backdrop, and then you can choose Above Embroidery, Washed Out, Below Embroidery, or you can hide it when you're done placing your nodes to make sure your design looks how you would like for it to. So let's begin with placing our nodes. I'm going to come down on our tools. I'm going to select the Create Outline Shape, which is Control and F5 is a shortcut key. If you don't see this icon there, hold down your left key on your mouse and you'll see several icons pop up. For this, I'm going to use the outline shape because I am using an outline shape. It has round curves, and it's just the best suited for the shape I'm working with today. I also use the Z key frequently to zoom in. So now that I've selected my tool, I'm going to come over here and place my nodes. I'm not too stressed about where I'm putting them right now because I can always come back and tweak them in just a second when we finish placing our nodes. Do remember that this is just a simple shape that I found online to download just to demonstrate how I perform appliques for you guys. It is not recommended to sell copyrighted items because it can lead to lots of legal trouble. So do your best to abide by those rules. So now I'm going around and I'm placing all the nodes. And like I said, I'm not stressing out too bad about where I put them right now because I can always come back and edit it if I don't think it's right. And also, I'm not going to be stitching out this design in real life. This is just a video to show my audience and fellow creative drawing users how I have coped with needing to create appliques in my software and not liking the preset functions that are laid out in front of me. I find I always have to do things a little bit different than some other people, and this just works better for me, and I can provide my clients with the best result. And as we all know, a happy client means a good business relationship. So now that I've got my nodes placed, you can see like here I have a little dip, and over here I have one. If I want to be fussy, I could go to this tool, which is our Edit Nodes tool, click it, and then I can just click on my nodes, and I can change my arrow positioning. This is important for any of your designs, not just applique. And here I can even go in and delete a node, and then that changes how that dipped in, and that looks better to me. So I'm going to do Alt and 1 to hide the background. I'll zoom out, and when I decide, yeah, that looks okay, there's a couple things I'm going to do. First, you're going to come up here and make sure you have the Brother palette selected. Remember I was talking about any other palettes have too many colors. If we use the Brother palette, we can make sure that our colors don't get merged and then everything jumbles together for our clients when they're stitching something out. We want to make sure with an applique there are 3 very distinct stitches that we run for each item that's appliqued. So for just the mouse head, since it's one shape, one entire shape that's getting an applique done, what we'll do is we'll have a total of 3 stitches. There'll be a placement stitch, which is always a single running stitch. It goes around one time. And this shows our clients where they're going to want to put their fabric, whether it be on a t-shirt or on stabilizer in the hoop to make a patch. This will show them where to put the fabric. And once they run the placement, lay their fabric down, they're going to run the tack down stitch. The tack down stitch you want to do is a running stitch, at least double if not triple. That way it holds the fabric securely for the final stitch, which is always done in the proper color, and that's our satin stitch. Okay, so enough yakking from me. I'm going to show you how I do this. So I go up here and I make sure I have my Select Rectangle tool selected. I click on my object. I come over here, and this is your fill button, and this is your button that controls the exterior stitches. So my interior stitches, I'm going to select none because I don't want anything in the body of the object. I'm just working on the outside. Running stitch and none is the style. That way it's a single running stitch going around. If I wanted to change the length, I could come down here and change the length some. 2.5 puts it very close together. Sometimes I'll change it up to 10 because, again, this is just a placement stitch, so it's not that big of a deal. But remember, you're going to use this layer again to make the next step, and we'll adjust that. So just hang tight and pay attention. So I've selected this. I'm going to go to Edit and Copy, and then Edit and Paste. And to see that you have two boxes here, because you see over here it didn't change, we need to select our Sequence Manager. Make sure we go to at least Simple, click OK, and you can see how now we have two boxes. One thing you're going to do, the tack down, the placement stitch we can leave as blue, that's fine. The tack down stitch, you're going to want to change the color up a little bit, and I try to get it closer to the final color, so we're going to go with silver. And remember, I talked about how these options are going to be different for us. So we're going to come over here, we're going to still do running, our style will be double, and our length, we'll back it back down to 3. It was 2.5, but 3 is pretty close. We're going to back it down to 3. And so now we're going to come up here and do Edit, we're going to do Paste again. Remember, now we're working on, see, level 1 is our placement stitch, level 2 is tack down, level 3 is our final stitch, which is the Satin Stitch for your applique project. So since this is the one we're working on, we're going to come up here and click Satin. We don't need any of these styles. I always come up here, though, and at least put my outline at 0.15, but I find a lot of people like the 0.20, just the thickness of it. It helps when people have like the fussy cutting, like right here in the angular corners or here. It helps them if they can't trim it close enough with their little scissors, that it can cover up most uh-ohs that some newbies especially tend to have. And again, the easier design, the better the design, the happier the clients, and the more clients that'll come your way. Word of mouth advertising is the best way to do it in our business. So now that we've got it all done, you see we've got our 3 layers. We've got the placement, the tack down, and the final. We're going to come over here and use what's called the Slow Redraw tool. We click it. This is a wonderful option that comes in creative drawings, and you should always, always, always utilize it. It typically helps you find the things that you only find when you test stitch something, so I love it. I still make some mistakes. That's what testing is all about. It finds our mistakes and we learn from them. So now that I've done that, I'm going to click Start. And if you'll watch my machine go, I'm actually going to stop it and start over because I have it set really fast. I have a bit of an attention span issue, so I like to watch things go fast. I'm going to put it at 3200 and start it. And then I'll back it down for you guys. And as you see, it's going around and it's doing our stitches. I'm going to go ahead and bring it on up so you can see everything get through there. And once it stitches, it'll do our underlay stitches, it'll go back to our regular stitches, and the design will be done. And you've completed your design. All that'll be left is to save it in the proper format and export it. And I always tell people to save, when you're saving the .xx files, they do tend to give me a bit of a headache, especially with appliques. So I always tell my clients who are buying from me, I always include multiple formats in one file, like PES for brother, and Singer's the .xxx, Genome, which is the .jef, and so forth, Husqvarna, Viking, all of those. I include one, and I tell my Singer peoples that if the .xxx doesn't work, a great go-to for them is the .hus file or the .pes file. Those work great when the Singer files tend to not want to work for me. So see, you would go up here, you go to File, you go to Save. You would save it as a drawings file. You're going to pull down, and then here's your whole list of options. So hopefully this video has been helpful and will help you guys kind of find your way along. One thing I forgot to do, though, is on my Satin Stitch, see how I left my color blue? Change it to black. Had I not caught that, I would have been in trouble. And one way to make sure you catch any of those tweaks that you've made, Control and P brings up your print screen. In your print screen, I always bring my tiling down to 1 and 1, and see it has all my thread colors here. So that way I know exactly what's going on. Everything looks great here. I've got the 3 colors, so we're fantastic. print it out, send it to your customer so they know where to do the thread changes at. And again, those slow redraws will help you find it, and hopefully you won't make an almost a O like I did and forget to change that color, because remember, it has to be separate colors or it will not stitch properly for your clients. And just explain to them when you send the file that they should, what I do is I use the tack down color. I use the final color for my tack down and my placement color just because it helps me. You know, placement can be any color because it's going under the fabric anyway. But tack down, I'll try to get as close to my final color as possible. But if there's one stitch that doesn't stitch right or whatever, it's not so much noticeable. Alright, well, thank you guys for joining me today. That's it. Have a great day, and I can't wait to see you back for our next how-to video.